Hello, dear YouTube viewers, I hope you're doing well. Okay, so let's start our video. The morning light spills through the curtains as Ethan stands before the mirror, straightening his tie for what he believes will be the happiest day of his life. His reflection shows a mix of nerves and excitement. He's the image of a man certain of his future. Liam, his best man, laughs while adjusting his own jacket, teasing, "You look like a man walking into heaven." Ethan chuckles, but his voiceover quietly contrasts the moment. "I thought that day was the start of forever. I didn't know it was the beginning of the end." The room around him feels alive with warmth. His mother moves in fussing with his boutonniere, her eyes shining with pride. His father gives him a firm, emotional hug, whispering, "You chose well, son." For Ethan, it's a perfect moment, his family proud, his future clear, and his heart full. Across the hall, Clara is surrounded by her bridesmaids, lost in laughter and soft chatter. Her beauty radiates without effort. She looks like someone born for moments like this. The makeup artist dusts her cheeks with shimmer while the bridesmaids record short clips for social media. Clara laughs, twirling slightly as her veil is pinned into place. Her phone, however, keeps lighting up beside her bouquet. Each time she glances at it, her expression changes just slightly, an unreadable flicker that no one else seems to notice. Outside, the venue glows under golden sunlight. The countryside estate feels like something out of a dream, the air heavy with the scent of roses and freshly cut grass. Candlelit pathways wind through the garden, ready for the evening celebration. Guests begin to arrive, dressed in elegant tones of ivory and navy. There's laughter, warm hugs, clinking glasses, and the excited rustle of programs being passed around. The photographer, Rebecca, moves quietly through the space, capturing moments without intruding. Her lens catches everything: the joy, the anticipation, the subtle glances. She pauses once near Clara's table, noticing her phone again lighting up. Her brow furrows for a moment before she returns to her camera. She doesn't say anything, but there's a flicker of concern in her expression, one that no one else would have seen unless they were looking for it. Ethan moves through the crowd, greeting guests and shaking hands. His eyes search for Clara, finding her laughing in the distance, surrounded by her friends. For a brief moment, her laughter feels slightly forced. He dismisses it as nerves. Every bride feels overwhelmed. Yet something about her constant glances toward her phone lingers in his mind. During the pre-ceremony photos, Rebecca approaches Ethan. She lowers her camera for a moment and studies him quietly. "You look happy," she says in a calm voice. Ethan smiles, still adjusting his tie. "I am." Rebecca's eyes soften with something like sadness. "Keep that feeling. It's rare." Her tone is strange, gentle but weighted. Ethan doesn't know how to respond, so he just laughs and brushes it off as a sentimental comment. As the ceremony begins, the music rises gently through the garden, a soft melody played by a live quartet. Clara steps into view, walking down the aisle in slow motion, her veil floating like mist. Ethan's heart swells. Every guest turns to admire her. Every camera flashes. For that moment, the world seems perfect. The priest's voice is steady as the vows are exchanged. Ethan promises forever, his voice trembling slightly. Clara's voice is confident and smooth. Rings are slipped onto fingers, smiles exchanged, applause filling the air. They kiss under a shower of petals, laughter echoing around them. Rebecca continues to take photos, but at one point, as the applause peaks, she pauses. Her phone vibrates in her pocket. She glances down for half a second, and her expression changes, eyes widening, mouth tightening. Something she sees on the screen freezes her momentarily. A wave of pity flashes across her face before she quickly hides the phone and resumes taking pictures as if nothing happened. Ethan, lost in joy, notices none of it. He's too caught up in the dream, too surrounded by love and cheers. His mind holds only one thought: this is forever. The camera lingers on the couple as they walk back down the aisle, hand in hand, smiling. The sunlight catches on the rings, the flowers, their laughter. Everything looks flawless, but beneath that perfection, a shadow has quietly entered the frame. The day feels like the start of something eternal, yet somewhere, just beyond Ethan's sight, the first crack has already appeared. The scene fades out not with a scream or a crash, but with the soft applause of guests and the gentle click of Rebecca's camera capturing the illusion of a perfect moment, one that's about to collapse. The reception glows beneath a ceiling of fairy lights, each one flickering like a promise. The music hums softly at first, then swells as Ethan and Clara step onto the dance floor for their first dance. Their song, the one that played the night they met, fills the air, and for a moment, Ethan forgets everything except the warmth of her hand in his. She smiles up at him, radiant, the crowd watching as though witnessing a fairy tale. Glasses clink, laughter ripples, and flashes from phones and cameras capture every second. Rebecca moves quietly through the crowd, her camera clicking in rhythm with the music. Every picture looks perfect, the couple in love, the light golden, the guests beaming. But her gaze keeps wandering to the head table, where Clara's phone rests beside her bouquet. Every few minutes, the screen lights up, message after message. Rebecca hesitates, uncertain whether to interfere, her professional instinct warring with her conscience. As the song ends, Ethan kisses Clara's forehead, and the crowd applauds. He steps away to greet an old colleague, laughing politely, unaware of the turmoil about to strike. Rebecca takes a deep breath and makes her choice. She crosses the floor, weaving between tables until she's beside him. Her hand touches his arm gently. When he turns, her expression makes his smile falter. Her face is pale, her voice barely above a whisper. "Ethan, check your phone. Don't react." The tone in her words isn't gossip. It's warning, quiet, desperate, sincere. Ethan blinks in confusion, but Rebecca has already stepped away, blending back into the crowd. He frowns, pulling his phone from his pocket. A notification appears, a message from Rebecca. It's a screenshot. For a second, he doesn't understand what he's looking at. Then the words register. The chat is between Clara and someone named J. Redheart. His heart stutters. The messages scroll down the screen, casual yet cruel. "Jay, you sure he won't see the messages?" "Clara, of course not. He trusts me completely." "Jay, so this is it then? You'll marry him, and we just stop?" "Clara, we'll figure something out. Tonight. I just need this wedding to end perfectly." The air leaves Ethan's lungs. Around him, laughter continues, music swells, and people toast to love, but the sound becomes distant, hollow, muffled. It's like standing underwater, watching a world that no longer belongs to him. His stomach twists, and for a brief, dizzying moment, he thinks he might fall. Rebecca's words echo in his mind. "Don't react." He forces his breathing to steady, gripping the phone tightly to stop his hands from shaking. When he looks up, Clara is across the room, laughing with her bridesmaids. She looks breathtakingly beautiful, alive, joyful, the picture of innocence. Ethan studies her face, searching for a sign of guilt, some trace of the truth he's just uncovered. But she looks untouchable, pure, like someone who could never do such a thing. That contrast tears him apart. Liam approaches, clapping a hand on his shoulder. "You good, man? You look like you've seen a ghost." Ethan forces a weak smile. "Yeah, just overwhelmed. Long day." His voice barely holds steady. Liam nods, oblivious, already turning to greet someone else. Ethan excuses himself and slips quietly toward the hallway. The noise of the celebration fades behind him as he enters the empty bathroom. The door shuts, and silence envelopes him. He stares at his reflection under the harsh white light, the same mirror image from that morning, but the man staring back now looks hollow, older, betrayed. His hands tremble as he grips the sink. He whispers to himself, "Was I blind? Or just too in love to see?" The words sound broken. Unable to stop, he scrolls further through the chat. The conversation goes back months. Photos, flirty lines, confessions of love. Dates overlap perfectly with the time he and Clara were choosing venues, sending invitations, writing vows. Each message slices deeper. Miss you already. Wish I were in your arms instead. His mind races, connecting every late-night text Clara brushed off as work, every last-minute change of plan, every vague excuse. The puzzle forms too easily now. Tears sting his eyes before he can hold them back. He presses his palms against the cool marble counter and bows his head, breathing through the ache. For a few seconds, he lets himself break, quietly, painfully. Then, as quickly as it comes, he wipes the tears away with the back of his hand. He can't let anyone see.
Not yet.
Outside, laughter and music drift in faintly. The DJ announces the cake cutting. He knows everyone will be waiting for him, smiling, toasting, expecting the happy groom to stand beside his radiant bride. Ethan takes one last look at his reflection, straightens his jacket, and forces a deep breath. His face hardens into calm, his expression smooth and composed. Inside, he's unraveling. Outside, he's flawless. He walks back into the golden light of the reception hall, past tables of smiling guests and flickering candles. Clara turns toward him, her eyes bright, her smile unshaken. He meets her gaze, the pain buried behind his. The camera would capture him then, the perfect groom, standing tall beside his bride. No one would ever guess the truth. Not yet. The night deepens into golden warmth as the reception dinner begins. The clinking of glasses, the murmur of laughter, and the soft glow of candles fill the air. Ethan and Clara sit side by side at the head table, surrounded by smiling faces and flashing cameras. To the world, they look perfect, the radiant couple whose love story just reached its peak. To Ethan, every flash of the camera feels like a spotlight on a lie. Clara leans close, brushing her hand against his. You okay? You look pale, she whispers, concern laced through her voice. For a moment, he wonders if it's real or just another performance. He forces a small smile. Just tired. Long day, he replies, keeping his tone calm. She smiles, squeezes his hand, and returns her attention to the guests. The contact burns through his skin, a reminder that the same hand touching his had once typed those words to another man. Across the room, Rebecca stands behind her camera, pretending to adjust the lens. Her chest tightens with guilt. She catches Ethan's eyes for a fleeting second and quickly looks away, pretending to focus on a centerpiece. She knows she's the reason his world cracked open tonight. But she also knows that if she hadn't acted, he would still be living inside a beautiful illusion. The toasts begin. Friends and family take turns raising glasses, voices thick with emotion. Liam's toast is heartfelt and funny. He speaks about how Ethan used to doubt love until Clara came along. The guests laugh. Ethan keeps his expression steady, even managing a polite smile, but each word lands like a dagger. He can hear Clara's soft laughter beside him, her fingers delicately toying with the stem of her champagne glass. When it's Clara's turn to speak, she stands gracefully, thanking everyone for coming. Her voice trembles slightly as she says, I'm so lucky to have found my forever in Ethan. The crowd melts, applause thunders, and Ethan feels his chest tighten. He wonders if she even believes the words leaving her mouth, or if she's just memorized the lines like an actress playing a role. Then comes the cake. The crowd gathers, cameras ready, everyone chanting for the couple to cut it together. Clara holds his hand as they slice into the cake, both smiling for the photographers. She takes a small piece and playfully feeds it to him. The crowd cheers. He returns the gesture, lifting the fork to her lips. The act feels mechanical, like watching himself from a distance. His mind drifts, back to the night they met at a music festival, her laugh over the noise of the crowd. He remembers her saying, You're the only person who really sees me. He remembers the late-night texts that used to make him feel wanted. Then he remembers the messages he read just hours ago. You sure he won't see the messages? And the memory shatters like glass. Inside, something in him unravels. He watches her laugh for the cameras, the sparkle in her eyes, and all he can think is how easily she's able to pretend. His voice echoes in his mind. Everyone saw a man in love. No one saw the man dying behind the smile. He catches Rebecca's gaze again. She lowers her camera slowly, her face filled with sympathy. It's a silent acknowledgement between them. She knows what he's hiding. But he gives her nothing, not a nod, not a word. Just composure. As the evening wears on, Ethan's mother approaches, glowing with happiness. She hugs Clara warmly. "Welcome to the family, sweetheart," she says. Clara smiles sweetly, hugging her back. Ethan looks away quickly, eyes burning. He can't bear to see his mother's trust wrapped around a lie. He clenches his jaw, forcing down the tears threatening to surface. Liam, ever observant, catches the tension. He leans in, murmuring, "Bro, what's going on? You don't look okay." Ethan doesn't look at him. "Not now," he says quietly. "I'll tell you later." His voice is steady, but empty. Liam studies him for a moment, but the noise of the party swallows the moment, and he's pulled away by another guest. The music grows louder, couples take to the dance floor, laughter spills from every corner. Ethan stands at the edge of the celebration, half in shadow, half in the golden light of the chandeliers. His eyes follow Clara as she dances with her bridesmaids, twirling in her gown, smiling as if the world itself adores her. To everyone else, she is the picture of happiness. To him, she is the ghost of everything he believed in. He feels the rage tightening inside his chest, not the kind that screams, but the kind that suffocates. Every laugh, every cheer, every toast feels like a cruel echo of betrayal. He closes his eyes and breathes deeply, trying to anchor himself. His voiceover would whisper, almost breaking, "I wanted to scream, to tear down every illusion, to tell them all the truth. But I couldn't ruin everyone's happiness for her sins." So he stays still, smiling faintly when someone passes, nodding politely when spoken to. His silence becomes his armor, his only way to survive the night without collapsing. The lights flicker, the music swells, and as he stands watching Clara under the glittering glow, his heart begins to harden, not out of anger, but out of survival. He knows this night will end, but the truth will not. It will follow him long after the music stops, long after the guests are gone. And still, he keeps smiling, because sometimes silence is the only thing left that won't betray you. The laughter and music fade as the last guests leave, leaving only the muffled hum of distant voices and the soft rustle of night outside. The celebration has ended, but for Ethan, the real reckoning begins now. He walks beside Clara through the quiet hallway leading to their honeymoon suite, the same one reserved weeks in advance, when everything still felt like a promise. The door opens to a perfect scene, rose petals scattered on the bed, champagne chilling in a silver bucket, and slow romantic music playing from a hidden speaker. Clara smiles, stepping inside first, her veil slightly undone, her eyes bright with the glow of the evening. "Finally," she says softly, "just us." Ethan closes the door behind them, but the click sounds louder than it should, final, sharp, heavy. He doesn't move toward her. Instead, he walks slowly to the window, hands in his pockets, staring out at the moonlit garden below. The same garden where, only hours ago, he promised forever. Clara notices the stillness. "Ethan," she asks lightly, "you okay?" He doesn't answer right away. His voice, when it comes, is calm, too calm. "Who's Jay?" The air freezes. Clara stops mid-step, confusion flashing across her face. "What?" she whispers, her tone wavering. He turns around, holding up his phone. The screen glows between them, displaying the messages, her name, her words, the proof. "Who is he?" Her face drains of color. "Where did you get that?" she stammers, voice trembling. Ethan's expression doesn't change. "From the photographer," he says quietly. "She said you'd want me to see the truth eventually." Clara's lips part, but no sound comes out. The silence stretches until it feels unbearable. Then she starts speaking too fast, her words tumbling over each other. She says it meant nothing, that it was a mistake, that it was over long before today. She insists she ended it, that it was just confusion before the wedding. She keeps talking, as if the more she explains, the smaller the betrayal will sound. Ethan listens without interrupting, his eyes fixed on her but distant, detached. There's no anger in his face, only the heavy weariness of someone who's already lost something too deep to describe. A mistake, he says quietly when she stops, is forgetting an anniversary. Not lying to someone you vowed to love. He sits on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor. His voice grows softer, almost hollow. Was any of this real? Clara kneels in front of him, tears streaming down her face. Of course it was. Ethan, please. I love you. I love you so much. He looks at her, not with hatred, but with sorrow that cuts deeper than anger ever could. You love the idea of being loved, he says. That's not the same. Her sobs fill the room, echoing off the walls like broken promises. Ethan rises, walking to the window again, his reflection faint in the glass. Outside, the garden glows under the moonlight, the same place they'd said forever just hours ago. He whispers, barely audible, "You took my forever and turned it into a lie that lasted one day." Clara crawls closer, begging him not to walk away. Her words blur through the sound of her crying. He turns, removes the wedding ring from his finger, and sets it gently on the table beside the untouched champagne glasses. The ring lands with a small metallic sound, simple, final, devastating. She reaches out, desperate. "Please," she says, her voice breaking. "Don't leave like this. We can fix it." He pauses at the door, hand on the handle, shoulders heavy but steady. "There's no other way left," he replies quietly. He opens the door. The hallway beyond is empty, still. When the door closes behind him, the sound echoes through the suite, not like a slam, but like the final heartbeat of something that once lived and now is gone. Inside, Clara sinks to the floor, surrounded by rose petals, the music still playing softly, a love song that no longer belongs to them. Outside, Ethan walks down the silent corridor, the weight of truth pressing on every step, his heart breaking, not from anger, but from the quiet, unbearable end of what he once believed was forever. Weeks pass like blurred days stitched together by silence. The wedding that once felt like a dream now exists only as a shadow in Ethan's memory. His apartment is half-packed, unopened wedding gifts stacked in corners, a suit bag hanging untouched in the closet, the faint smell of the roses from that night long faded. The world outside has moved on, but inside, time seems to have stopped. He scrolls absently through his phone, landing on social media posts filled with smiles, champagne, and hashtags. Hashtag forever love, hashtag dream wedding, hashtag goals. The same photos that once symbolized joy now feel like cruel reminders of what never truly existed. He lets out a small, bitter laugh. Perfection, he mutters under his breath, the world's favorite illusion. The days stretch into quiet nights. He doesn't go out much, just work, home, and long walks that blur into each other. One morning, he receives a text from Rebecca, the photographer.
"Can we talk?"
They meet at a small cafe on the edge of town, a calm place far from the noise of the city. Rebecca looks nervous when she sees him. She doesn't know whether to smile or apologize. "I didn't want to ruin your day," she says softly, her eyes heavy with guilt. "But I couldn't let her ruin your life." Ethan looks down at his coffee, then back up at her. "You didn't ruin anything," he says quietly. "You just showed me what was already broken." The words hang in the air, both painful and freeing. Rebecca nods slowly and hands him a small envelope, a USB drive inside. "These are the unedited photos," she says. "I thought you should have the real ones, not the ones people posted." That evening, Ethan opens the photos on his laptop. Image after image fills the screen, the ceremony, the dance, the laughter. But now, without filters and retouching, he sees what he missed before. In almost every shot, Clara's eyes look slightly away from him, toward the crowd, the floor, anywhere but his face. Subtle, but undeniable. The truth was always there, hidden behind smiles and perfect lighting. Funny, he murmurs to himself. The camera saw what I couldn't. Time moves on, slowly, but surely. The apartment grows lighter. Some boxes are unpacked. The photos replaced. The air no longer so heavy. Ethan begins to write again, something he hadn't done in years. At first, it's just a few lines in a journal, but soon it becomes a habit. He writes about love, about illusion, about learning to see clearly. He takes small trips, to the mountains, to the sea, to quiet towns where no one knows his story. The solitude heals him in ways words can't. One evening, his voice echoes softly in a narration as he writes in his journal. Maybe I lost a wife that day, but I also lost the illusion that love means blindness. He pauses, thinking, and adds, and maybe that's how real sight begins. Months later, Ethan finds himself walking through the same countryside estate where it all began. The garden is alive again, sunlight streaming through the trees, laughter spilling across the air. Another wedding is taking place, full of joy and music. He stops for a moment, watching from a distance. The bride and groom are radiant, their families cheering, cameras flashing. It's beautiful, not because it's perfect, but because it's real to them right now. A small smile touches Ethan's lips. There's no bitterness left, only quiet acceptance. He looks at the couple one last time, then turns and walks down the path lined with flowers. The same path he once walked as a groom, now as a man who has learned what love truly costs and what freedom feels like after heartbreak. As he disappears into the golden light of sunset, his voice returns one last time. Some stories end with heartbreak. Others begin after it. The screen fades to black. The music softens. The story closes not with tears, but with peace, the kind that only comes when the illusions finally end. Thanks for watching. For more videos, please subscribe our channel. Awesome visual story.